Good day, students, and welcome back once again to JLDI Online Free School. It's your teacher Wasiu Moshood, and today we are back on the subject of economics. Today we'll be looking at population in economics. So, and at the end of today's class, students will be able to explain the meaning of population in economics, describe how population size and growth affect the economy, be able to discuss at least two population theories which we are going to look at, explain population distribution, a geographical location, age, sex, and occupational distribution of population, state the importance and problems of population census, and as well be able to explain the concept of rural-urban migration and its effects. What do you understand by the concept of population in economics? How can you define population? Population is defined as the total number of people living in a particular area in terms of country, state, town, cities, or any settlement at a particular time. So in economics, we study population because it has impact on demand for goods and services, supply of labor in the labor market, and as well as for the purpose of economic planning and development of our state. How can we determine population size, and what implication does this have on growth? The following factors do affect population size, and as well we are going to look at its implications on economic growth. The first one is birth rate. This can be defined as the number of births per 1,000 people per year. The second one is death rate, which is the number of deaths per 1,000 people per year. So another notable factor is migration. That is the movement of people in and out of the country. Life expectancy, that is how long people can live, is another factor that determines population size. And the last factor here is fertility rate, which is the average number of children a woman has. Now let's look at the implication of population growth, either an increasing growth or a slow growth. So first, we are going to look at the advantages of rapid population growth. So when there is a rapid population growth, there is going to be large market for goods and services, which will improve the economy. There is going to be large labor force. So that is the availability of workers in the labor market. And this will also mean more taxpayers. So what are the disadvantages of a rapid population growth? One, there is tendency for unemployment because there are more people in that population, so more people will be seeking for jobs that are not readily available. There will be pressure on schools, hospitals, housing, and other social facilities. There may be food shortage because more people will be, competing for the available food, which may result into poverty. Having said that, a declining population or slow growth rate of population also has its advantages and disadvantages. Like we have looked at the rapid population growth. So for slow population growth, there is advantages include less pressure on resources, the available resources, but It also has lower unemployment because there will be more employment opportunities for the available number of people. Its disadvantages ranging from aging population, that's many old people, shortage of young workers, as well as a smaller market, which has a negative implication on the economy at large. For the purpose of this class, we are going to look at two theories of population. The first one is the Malthusian theory, which was propounded by Thomas Robert Malthus, while the second one is demographic transition theory. The Malthusian theory, which was propounded in 1798 by Thomas Roberts, actually look at population to grow geometrically in terms of 2, 4, 8, 16, while the supply of food can grow arithmetically, like at the range of 2, 4, 6, 8. So it's trying to say that if population is not checked, it will outgrow food supply, which will in turn, cause famine, war, diseases, poverty. Um, he also, noted certain solutions like checks, like preventive checks, late marriage, or even birth control. He also look at positive checks like war, disease, or famine, which will reduce the population and in turn, manage the population. Meanwhile, Thomas Malthus' theory of population was criticized for one reason, that he did not foresee modern technology as well as family planning. In essence, the critics of Thomas Malthus' theory are saying that the possibility of population outgrowing food might be defeated when there's technology for the production of food. Let's say, for instance, irrigation farming or even mechanized farming, which will can produce food geometrically to match up population growth, or even the family planning of a thing, which can serve as a check on the growth rate of population. This method was actually adopted in China in order to control their population at a point in time. Now, let's look at the demographic transition theory. So this theory explains how countries move from high birth and death rates to low birth and death rates as they develop in stages. So the stages are categorized into 4. So the first stage is combining high birth rate with high death rate. So which will result into slow growth. So such countries regarded as very poor countries. The second stage is high birth rate combined with falling death rate. So for such economy, there is going to be rapid growth in population. So such is the example we have in Nigeria today. Stage 3 refers to falling birth rate combined with low death rate, which will also result into slow growth. Stage 4 is categorized as low birth rate combined with low death rate, which implies stable or declining growth rate. So such economy is an instance from let's say Germany or even Japan. At this point, we'll be examining population distribution and its structure. Population distribution can be categorized into 4 different places. The first one is geographical distribution of population, so which refers to how people are spread across the country. For instance, Lagos can be seen as densely populated region of the country, while Borno can be regarded as sparsely populated. So the second way of distributing population is by age, so which we call age distribution. So in age distribution we have young population that is categorized as 0 to 14 years of age, so which are largely dependent population. We have also working population between the ages of 15 and 64 years, which is regarded as the productive population of any country. Then the old population start from 65 years and above, and they are also regarded as dependent population. Nigeria as a country is being regarded as a youthful population because there are many young people between the ages of 50 and 64 years. So the third categorization of population distribution is by sex. So for sex we have male to female ratio. In Nigeria, for instance, Nigeria has slightly more males than females according to the last census. The last category of population distribution is by occupation, which is being regarded as a occupational distribution of population. So this refers to how people earn a living, that is their means of livelihood, whether they are teachers or traders or farmers or even civil servants. So let's now look at population census. So what do we mean by population census? How important it is to any economy, what are the problems, and so on. Population census refers to official counting of all people in a country at a particular time. That is the head count of every people in a given country, so which usually takes every 10 years. And what are the importance of census in any economy? One, it helps government plan for schools, for hospitals, for roads and other social amenities. It is also used to share revenue among states, that is a state allocation. It helps in election planning as well as constituency planning. It attracts foreign aid and investment, as well show population growth rate. As much as important is a population census to any economy, there are challenges that actually limit every country to undertake it. Especially in Nigeria, certain problems that limit us from conducting population census include high cost of executing it, religious and ethnic suspicion, false declaration, that is people used to lie about their age, their tribe and so on, inaccessible areas like very remote area, riverine areas or even forests. There is also the issue of illiteracy and poor enlightenment. And finally, there is normally political manipulation of figures from every state. Migration is a notable factor in population growth, and it has implications in rural urban migration, so which we are going to examine now. What exactly is rural urban migration? It simply refers to the movement of people from villages, that is rural areas, to cities or urban areas. And what are the causes of rural-urban migration? The causes are: one, people move because they want to search for job opportunities in the urban area. There is the need for better education and hospitals, which inspire people to move from rural areas to the city. People also move because they believe in urban area there's electricity, there's potable water, and entertainment. So people also move because of marriage opportunities in the urban area, because they tend to meet more people in the urban area than in the rural area. So another possible reason for movement from a rural area to urban area is a natural disaster like flood or even drought. Let's look at the implications of this movement. Basically, there is a negative implication on the rural area because the farmers tend to move out of the rural area, especially young farmers, so which can cause a shortage of food even to the urban areas. There's also the possibility of where most people live, that village can become old and empty at the end of the day. uh Movement from rural areas to urban areas has both positive and negative impact on the city or the urban area. uh for the positive side of it, so it means more workers for industry in the urban area, while the negative impact could be like overpopulation in cities, which causes pressure on the amenities. There could be issue of unemployment, traffic, crime, and slums. In conclusion, the following table has actually helped us to summarize everything when we look at the concept of population from large to rapid growth, to the movement from rural areas to urban area. So we can actually see the positive effect on the economy as well as its negative effect. For instance, the concept of a large population depicts big markets and more labor for an economy, which is a positive effect. Why it also means unemployment and pressure on available resources for the same economy. If there's a rapid growth in an economy, so it simply means there's going to be future large workforce for that economy, which is a positive effect. But then it could also be poverty or even food shortages in the future. Uh, for rural urban migration concept, uh, the movement could be workers for industry in the urban area, while it could cause slums, crime, as well as uh, low production in agriculture. So thank you for being part of this class. See you next time, and I say bye for now.